Homer Simpson should be dead by now. The man works at a nuclear power plant and sleeps through his shifts. He's caused meltdowns, dumped toxic waste in the lake, blown up city blocks, and put his family in danger more times than anyone can count. But Homer never dies. In fact, none of the main cast ever stays dead outside the Treehouse of Horror episodes. The show's run for over 30 years, and somehow, everyone keeps surviving on their own stupidity, especially Homer. So, today we're looking at the characters who actually died in The Simpsons and stayed dead. Marion Anthony D'Amico, better known as Fat Tony, ran Springfield's criminal underworld for years, extorting businesses, rigging elections, smuggling contraband, and ordering hits on anyone who got in his way. Fat Tony first showed up in Season 3's Bart the Murderer, where he recruited Bart into his organization. That's right, he used a 10-year-old boy as part of his criminal enterprise. And that was just the beginning of his reign of terror over Springfield. Throughout the series, Fat Tony tried to kill Homer multiple times. He shook down local businesses for protection money, he corrupted politicians and police officers, he ran gambling operations, smuggling rings, and who knows what else behind the scenes. The man was a walking crime wave who hid behind a thin veneer of old-world charm and family values. But all that gluttony and stress eventually caught up with him. In Season 22's Donnie Fatso, Homer goes undercover for the FBI to infiltrate Fat Tony's organization. When Fat Tony discovers that his new friend's been feeding information to the feds, the betrayal hits him hard. You think informants could get that close to me? Oh yeah, I got in your gang and you barely know who I am. The combination of emotional stress and decades of overreacting triggers a massive heart attack. Fat Tony collapses right into Homer's arms and dies on the spot. It was the perfect, ironic ending for a man who's gorged himself on ill-gotten gains his entire life. All those years of feasting on the misery of others, and his own clogged arteries did what the police never could. Fat Tony absolutely deserved what he got. He poisoned Springfield like toxic waste in the water supply. He corrupted kids, terrorized business owners, and left a trail of bodies behind him. His heart attack was karma finally catching up to a man who thought he was untouchable. The show did try to soften the blow by having his identical cousin Fit Tony step in to take over the family business, and wouldn't you know it, Fit Tony eventually ballooned up and became the new Fat Tony. But the original's death still felt like justice being served after years of criminal activity. Fat Tony was a career criminal who hurt countless people, but our next entry was a different kind of monster entirely. Victor was a hulking Eastern European thug who showed up in Season 23's premiere, The Falcon and the Doman. He was a Ukrainian mobster driven by revenge after his wife was accidentally killed by ex-CIA agent Wayne Slater. This guy wasn't complicated. He was pure muscle and brutality without a single redeeming quality. Victor kidnapped Homer as bait to draw out Wayne, subjecting him to interrogation and nearly executing him in a warehouse showdown. He held Homer at gunpoint and made it clear he was going to kill him without hesitation. Victor was the kind of villain who exists solely to hurt people. No charm, no wit, no personality beyond raw aggression. He was a blunt instrument in human form, and he enjoyed every second of the pain he caused. His death came fast and brutal. During the final confrontation, Homer accidentally tickled Wayne's armpit while trying to help. The distraction gave Wayne just enough of an opening to grab a shard of broken glass and hurl it straight into Victor's throat. Victor choked on his own blood and died on the spot. So, Rain, once again, you crush my party. It was a glorious, gory end for a character who deserved nothing less. Victor was a one-note bully whose entire purpose was to escalate violence. He had no backstory worth caring about, no motivation beyond revenge, and no future beyond a disposable obstacle for the heroes to overcome. Getting impaled like a vampire in a B-movie was the perfect karmic slap for a sadist like him. Springfield doesn't need imported thugs when homegrown criminals like Snake already fill that quota. Victor's death was swift, messy, and utterly satisfying. Victor was a professional killer who met a violent end, but our next entry died from something far more pathetic. Amber Simpson was Homer's Vegas wife from a blackout drunk escapade in Season 10's Viva Ned Flanders. She was a cocktail waitress who married Homer during one of his stupidest benders, and she spent her limited screen time trying to cash in on that mistake. The whole situation was a mess from the start. Homer and Ned Flanders went to Las Vegas, got completely wasted, and woke up married to two women they'd never met before. Amber latched onto Homer immediately, seeing dollar signs where most people would see a drunken idiot.
Oh yeah, we're hitched all right.
Till death do us part.
I'm working on that.
She resurfaced in season 13's Brawl in the Family, crashing into Springfield to enforce her bogus marital rights. Amber chain-smoked her way through every scene, manipulating situations to her advantage and nearly tearing the Simpsons family apart with her scheming. She didn't care about Homer, she only cared about what she could extract from him. Amber's death was revealed in season 18's Jazzy and the Pussycats. She died on a drug overdose at a theme park right in front of a roller coaster sign warning riders not to stand up. The implication was that she might have done exactly that while high out of her mind, adding a layer of self-inflicted stupidity to an already pathetic end. Now, Amber absolutely had it coming. She was a parasitic opportunist who preyed on drunken fools and injected chaos into stable lives for personal gain. Her entire existence on the show revolved around causing problems for the Simpsons family so she could benefit from the fallout. She showed no remorse, no growth, and no redeeming qualities whatsoever. Her overdose was inevitable, a cautionary tale wrapped in Simpsons absurdity about what happens when you live for nothing but the next thrill and the next scam. The Simpsons family attending her funeral was more courtesy than she ever earned. Amber died chasing cheap highs, but our Nick spent decades ripping people off before karma finally caught up with him. Nick Callahan was a slimy real estate agent from Season 9's Reality Bites. He worked at Red Blazer Realty, where he taught Marge how to sell houses using every dirty trick in the book. Falsify documents, hide major flaws, pressure buyers into bad decisions. Nick was the embodiment of predatory sales tactics disguised as friendly advice. His signature move was selling the infamous murder house to unsuspecting buyers without disclosing its gruesome history. He peddled overpriced dumps with hidden problems and left families in financial ruin without a second thought. Nick was the kind of guy who could shake your hand and stab you in the back with the same smooth smile. After that one episode, Nick disappeared for 27 years. Most fans forgot he existed. Then season 36's The Yellow Lotus brought him back in the most unexpected way possible. The episode was a parody of The White Lotus, and the show needed a body count. Nick was retconned as a sleazy timeshare scammer who'd been bilking The Simpsons for over a decade. He showed up at a luxury resort, still running the same old cons with the same oily charm, and then an otter killed him. Not just any otter, a drug-crazed otter that had gotten into someone's medications. The animal attacked Nick in a frenzy, mauling him to death in one of the most absurd murder scenes the show has ever produced. It was peak Simpsons irony. A guy who spent his career swimming with sharks got taken out by a furry sea critter high on pills. Producer Al Jean later explained that they chose Nick specifically because he was a minor character nobody would miss, making him the perfect victim for the parody's required deaths. Nick Callahan deserved this wild end. He embodied the soul-sucking greed of scam artists who ruined lives with fine print and fake smiles. Bringing him back after nearly 3 decades just to kill him off felt like the show finally closing a chapter that should have ended long ago. Nick was a con man who scammed a couple people here and there, but there's one con man whose scheme endangered an entire town. Lyall Lanley was the silver-tongued swindler from Season 4's legendary Marge vs. the Monorail. He rolled into Springfield with a song, a smile, and a plan to steal from the town's coffers. His pitch was simple. Springfield had come into some money, and Lanley convinced them to spend it all on a shiny new monorail system. He performed an entire musical number to seal the deal, getting the whole town excited about public transportation they didn't need and couldn't afford. The problem was that Lanley's monorails were death traps. He cut every corner imaginable, using substandard materials and shoddy construction to maximize his profits. He didn't care if people got hurt, he just wanted to grab the cash and disappear before anyone noticed the train was falling apart. And this wasn't his first time. Lanley had already destroyed towns like North Haverbrook, Ogdenville, and Brockway with the same scam. His faulty monorails caused crashes, injuries, and deaths in every community he targeted. The man left a trail of devastation across the country, and he did it all while humming show tunes and counting his money. When Springfield's monorail inevitably went haywire, Lanley was already on a plane out of town with his suitcase full of stolen cash. He thought he'd gotten away with it again, but the plane made an unscheduled stop in North Haverbrook. The townspeople recognized him immediately. They remembered what his monorail had done to their community. They stormed the plane in a rage. The last we hear of Lyall Lanley is screaming, and the sound of the aircraft rocking back and forth as an angry mob delivers vigilante justice. The show never explicitly confirmed his death, but Lanley has never appeared again in over 30 years. That mob beat him within an inch of his life at minimum, and most fans assume they finished the job. Lyall Lanley discovered every blow he received on that plane. He wasn't just a con man, he was a mass murderer who hid behind charisma and catchy songs. His negligence killed people in multiple towns, and he never showed an ounce of remorse for any of it. That mob justice was the ultimate encore for a performer who thought he could sing his way out of any consequences. Luckily, he couldn't sing his way out of this one. Now, here's what frustrates me about The Simpsons and death. The show hands out karma in the most unfair ways imaginable. Frank Grimes was a hard-working, rational man who clawed his way through a brutal life. He was orphaned young, taught himself everything he knew, and survived on pure determination. Then he got a job at the Springfield nuclear power plant and met Homer Simpson.
Can I have this one?
No.
And Lenny have it?
No.
Frank watched Homer sleep on the job, eat other people's food, and bumble through responsibilities that could kill thousands of people if done wrong. He saw a dangerous idiot being praised and promoted, while competent people struggled to get by. It drove him insane. And what happened to Frank Grimes? He died. He grabbed high-voltage cables in a fit of rage trying to prove how stupid Homer was, and he got electrocuted on the spot. Homer fell asleep at his funeral and mumbled about changing the channel. The whole town laughed. Meanwhile, Homer keeps on living. The man's blown up the power plant multiple times. He's dumped toxic waste, caused citywide blackouts, endangered his kids repeatedly, and nearly triggered global disasters. And in real life, Homer's incompetence has made people extremely scared of nuclear energy, even though it's the safest, most energy-dense, and most dependable energy source we have. Better than solar, better than wind, better than oil and gas, but people would rather burn coal than build a nuclear power plant, and it's all thanks to Homer. He should have been fired, arrested, or killed decades ago, but he bounces back every episode like nothing happened. The Simpsons universe punishes the one guy who pointed out the insanity while letting the walking disasters stumble forward indefinitely. It's the cruelest joke the show's ever told. Rest in peace, Frank Grimes. You were a real one. And then there's the characters that fans desperately want gone. Seymour Skinner tops plenty of hate lists. His rigid, joyless authoritarianism at Springfield Elementary has worn thin after 30-plus years. The endless military obsession, the mommy issues, the petty rule enforcement. Fans have been begging for him to get a permanent exit for ages, but he just keeps showing up to bore everyone with another Vietnam flashback. Sideshow Bob is another one fans are divided on. Kelsey Grammer's cultured villainy made him a fan favorite early on, but after 3 decades of failed Bart murder schemes and repetitive jailbreaks, the character's overstayed his welcome. The endless cycle of escape plot fail has grown stale for plenty of viewers who think it's time for a real permanent end.
5-second rule.
If you want to see more satisfying comeuppances, check out our video on every person who deserved to die in Family Guy. Trust me, Quahog's body count delivers justice with the same twisted flair. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe for more.
Change the channel, Marge.